Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian here at the Navy League's annual Sea Airspace Conference and Trade Show outside Washington, D.C. in National Harbor, Maryland, where our coverage is sponsored by Fincantieri, Huntington Ingalls Industries, as well as Leonardo DRS. And we're over here at the the Navy's Information Warfare Pavilion at the show to talk to Rick DeForest, as well as Air Traffic Control Chief Shelly Cosman, and you are the integrated product team lead for air traffic control, and you're the senior advisor for air traffic control. And Chief, I want to start with you. Talk to us about the VID system, which is the Visual Information Display System. It's been in service for a while, about 20 years or so, a little bit more than that, and Rick will talk to you about the program dynamics here in a second. But talk to us a little bit from the standpoint of an air traffic control person who runs air operations for the Navy, both at sea but also as well as shoreside, and the focus on this is shoreside. Talk to us a little bit about what the new version of the system brings.
So the new system just adds a couple of aspects to the system that's already been fielded. One of the biggest things that everyone is really excited about is VisCom, which is visual communications. It takes it from legacy, which was a line of lights essentially that just gave a type aircraft where it was, to a more visual aspect of it, and it puts it in the same system that the controllers are going to use all the time. They're used to touching this, they're used to using this. It's by every control position, so it just brings everything together closer, more convenient, and then more efficient, safer.
That's right, because everybody's working on safety, and the last couple of years have been very, and aside from maintenance-related issues, certainly, but some of the safest years in naval aviation. I had a friend of mine who was very, very proud on the records that the Navy was setting. That was a couple of years ago, unfortunately, before the big readiness drop. Rick, talk to us a little bit about the programmatic dimension of this. You've been with the program for a while. Talk to us about, over the years, how the program has evolved, and sort of what are the next sort of, when are you fielding and introducing this capability?
Okay, so this system was first installed in Pensacola in '97. We went initial operational capability in Beaufort in 2000. It is fielded basically all of our Navy and Marine Corps air stations worldwide. We have done 3 iterative builds that are part of the initial requirements documentation, and this is our 4th build, adding the ECP with the VisCom. We'll be going to Mayport in the April-May timeframe, but we'll be doing key site testing, and then we'll start deploying it through the fleet for the next 5 or so years. So,
and what do you have? You already, the military is always good about thinking about what the next iteration of it is going to be, even before you field this one. What's the vision of where you want this system to be after this build?
So we have several ECPs. We have an ECP roadmap, engineering change proposal, on where we're going to add some additional capability, such as for one, what a lot of people are doing, Windows 10, and that we have some obsolescence with some of the hardware that we're working on, as well as adding some reporting capability to meet some Environmental Protection Agency requirements for the reporting for the controllers. So we're trying to make that easy. We're moving forward, also looking at things like different type of CAC log-on. Right now it's a manual log-on system because it produces a lot of reports for the controllers. The whole idea is to kind of ease the administrative burden on them by having us generate data that's already in there. This has all our weather information in one place. It has our ATIS, our Automated Terminal Information Service, connects a transmitter to broadcast out to the airport or to the aviator, critical airport information. We interface with the FAA on the flight data input-output system. We also have, one of the things that was in the last build was the little display that has a status board for all the different areas, so someone in radar can see if there's something in the tower, if there's a piece of equipment out. So it's kind of very easy, one place to look at, because this goes at a standardized position for a Navy Marine Corps facility where they have a radar scope, a communication switch, a touch entry display, and this information display. So everything is right there. Keeps them either looking at the scope or looking out the window and not searching for equipment.
So the weather information that Rick was talking about, this is your where you get your weather from, so your wind source. You have your duty runway, which we don't have, but the wind right here is 353 at 16. That's probably the most important to the aircraft because it's going to determine your the runway that you're using, your altimeter, and then the time, and you have your UTC time, which we use in aviation, but you also have the local time right beside it. They have the time that the METAR was updated, which is also very important. It gets updated every hour, and it can't be outdated. If it's outdated, we have to call weather and have them update your METAR. So here's your METAR readout, and this is the information that we give to the aircraft. The ATIS, the Automated Terminal Information System, or Service, I'm sorry, is right here, and that's what Rick was talking about also. So everything that we give to the pilot, to the aircraft, is here. You have your temperature, your dew point, your pressure, altitude, all of that is right here. And then down here is the administrative reports and things that he was talking about. So this is for the controllers, this is for the controllers to give to the aircraft. And then here is your general display that has the information for each branch. So you have your radar branch, your tower branch, flight planning, and then just administrative stuff. And equipment that's down.
Having information where it matters, especially from an air traffic control standpoint, is very important. Chief, earlier you mentioned about sort of the difference between how the Navy does it and how the FAA does it. You obviously have to manage that because you're managing airspace also through which passenger aircraft are flying and vice versa. Talk to us about how the approach, the Navy approach is a little bit different, for example, from the FAA approach.
There isn't much of a difference between the Navy and the FAA when it comes to the air traffic control. The equipment is a little bit different, but as Mr. DeForest had said, we try to keep it very similar just to have the continuity for air traffic control in general.
And aside from all the data, what are the keys to being a good air traffic controller?
Focus. You have to study a lot, and you kind of have to be fearless, but still aware and humble, I would say, are some of the characteristics that are really important and very hard to juggle, might I add.
Well, that's right. And also, you're also looking out the window as much as you're looking at your screen.
Well, it's radar, so in radar you only have your screen, and there's very specific rules for radar. When you're in the tower, you're looking out the window, and it's your depth perception and judgment calls, and it's see and be seen at that point. So it's a little, rules are different, so you kind of have to change your mentality depending on where you are. So.
Fantastic. And what's next in your career? Because this is kind of a, are you going to go back out to the fleet once you finish this? What's next?
It's undecided.
Well, I wish you best of luck, fair winds following seas. Sir, thank you very much. Chief, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and best of luck with the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it.